Level 1. The Chosen. You're 24 years old and you're sitting alone in your apartment at 2 a.m. because you can't sleep. Because 3 nights ago, someone broke into this building and nobody came, and the police report is still sitting unopened on your kitchen table. You've never told anyone how much that night actually scared you. You don't have to. A yellow light finds people who don't say it out loud. It finds the fear underneath the fear. You hear a sound like glass under pressure, and a ring the color of a warning sign drifts through your window and stops in front of your face. It doesn't ask permission. It reads you instantly. The locked door you now check 4 times, the knife you started keeping under your pillow, the version of you that flinches at footsteps in the hallway. It settles on your finger, and it doesn't feel like power at first. It feels like something finally agreeing with you that the world is as dangerous as you always suspected. Yellow light wraps your hand. A construct forms without you asking for it. A jagged shape shaped by whatever your mind produces when it's cornered. You didn't train for this. You didn't apply for this. The ring simply decided you were afraid enough to be useful. 3 buildings away, a man who has hurt people before is walking home thinking no one will ever catch him. You are suddenly airborne, and you don't remember deciding to fly. Level 2. The Initiate at QARD. The ring pulls you through a route no plane could survive, past the edge of your galaxy, into a place with no stars that behave like stars. A universe built out of antimatter, where colors sit wrong on your eyes. This is QARD. The forges here don't ring like blacksmith shops. They hum like something being kept barely contained. The weaponers who run this place don't introduce themselves warmly. They hand you a manual you can't read yet and put you in a line with 40 other new hosts, most of them shaking, some of them crying, one of them already trying to take the ring off with his teeth. It doesn't come off. You learn the first rule in your first hour. Green light is willpower. Yellow light is fear. But not your fear, the fear you create in others. The ring doesn't recharge on courage. It recharges on the moment someone else looks at you and understands they've already lost. You practice on training constructs shaped like people. You hesitate the first time. The weaponer instructing you doesn't yell. He just tells you plainly that hesitation is what gets hosts killed in the field. That mercy is a habit you'll need to unlearn completely if you want to survive a single patrol. By the end of week 3, 6 of the 40 are gone. Nobody explains what gone means. You stop asking. Level 3. The Sector Enforcer. You're assigned a sector fear, a slice of space larger than you can meaningfully picture, and told to keep it in line. Keeping it in line means something specific here. It doesn't mean protecting anyone. It means presence. It means a warlord on a mining colony hearing your name and canceling a raid he'd already planned. It means silence is the metric of success. Your first real conflict isn't with a criminal. It's with a Green Lantern working the neighboring sector, a species you were trained to see as the enemy without ever being told exactly why. You clash over a border dispute that shouldn't matter to either of you. Constructs collide. You feel the ring drink from the exact second his fear spikes, and it's the first time you understand the ring isn't neutral. It wants you to win by making him afraid, not just stronger. You do. He retreats. You feel something afterward that isn't triumph. You log it anyway as a successful patrol. Level 4. The Veteran. 4 years in, and you've stopped counting the acts of intimidation the way you used to. You train new hosts now, the way the weaponers trained you, except you're gentler about it than they were, which the Corps notices and doesn't fully approve. A young recruit under your watch refuses an order to make an example of a civilian population. You understand the impulse. You remember having it. You cover for her once. The second time she refuses, command doesn't ask your opinion. You're told plainly that a ring that stops generating fear is a ring being reassigned to someone who will. You have the conversation with her yourself because you'd rather it come from you than from them. She keeps her ring. You keep your rank. Neither of you talks about what that cost. Level 5. The Honor Guard Candidate. 9 years in, and you're invited to something most hosts never get near. A seat close to the command structure built around Sinestro himself, the founder whose name the entire Corps operates under. A name that alone ends most confrontations before they start. You fought beside members of his inner circle in 3 major engagements now. The largest is a coordinated defense of a contested sector against the full Green Lantern strike team. 7 rings against 11. You take a hit that cracks your battery reserve to almost nothing. You survive by doing the one thing you were trained never to hesitate on: manufacturing terror fast enough to buy seconds. It works. The sector holds. You are recommended for the inner ranks. You go home that night, if you can call it home, to quarters you've occupied for years without ever unpacking fully. And you realize you can't remember the last time anyone spoke to you without measuring their words first. Level 6. The Warden. 14 years in, and you now oversee multiple sectors, dozens of hosts reporting through your command, quotas, incident logs, discipline hearings for rings that generated insufficient fear that cycle. The math is cold, and you stopped flinching from it years ago. You put down an uprising on a border world personally, not because you enjoy it, but because sending someone less experienced risks a botched job that makes the entire Corps look weak. And weakness here isn't a management problem, it's an existential one. You visit your homeworld once during this period, unannounced. Your family doesn't recognize you at first, not physically, in the way you carry yourself. Your sister asks what happened to you. You don't have an answer that would make sense to her. You leave before dinner. Level 7. The Legend. 19 years in, and your name functions the way Sinestro's does on a smaller scale, spoken to end conflicts before they escalate. The defining moment of your service happens on a battlefield that later gets its own designation in Corps records, a joint operation against the coalition of Green Lanterns and Allied Corps, attempting to break Corps supply lines. You lead the Yellow Contingent. The battle runs for 3 days. On the final day, your ring redlines twice and recovers both times because the fear on that field, yours included, is thick enough to refuel an army. You win. The cost isn't counted in ships. Level 8. The Host in Decline. 26 years in, and something the weaponers never fully explained when you were a recruit is now impossible to ignore. The yellow light doesn't just draw on fear, it feeds on the host generating it. And after enough years, the line between using fear as a tool and simply becoming a permanently frightened, permanently frightening thing gets difficult to locate from the inside. You notice it in small ways first. You can't stand silence anymore. You can't be in a room without calculating the exit. Younger hosts start giving you the same distance you once gave your own instructors. You understand now that isn't respect, it's the same fear the ring runs on, aimed back at you. There is no version of this career that ends with the ring simply thanking you and letting go. Level 9. The One Who Doesn't Retire. 31 years since a ring found you awake at 2 a.m. in an apartment you don't remember the address of anymore. There's no ceremony for hosts who step back, because stepping back isn't really possible. The ring chose you because of what you were afraid of, and it never fully leaves once it's had that long inside you. You take fewer patrols now. You advise instead of fight. The Corps still uses your name to end confrontations, which means you are still, in every sense that matters, on duty. You sit in Corps' dim light some nights and think about the version of you that used to check a door 4 times before sleeping, before any of this, and you understand something you couldn't have explained to that version of yourself. The ring didn't create the fear. It just found people who already had it and gave it somewhere to go. And somewhere right now, on a world you'll never visit, someone is lying awake at 2 a.m., checking a lock, listening for a sound in the hallway that isn't there. A yellow light is already moving towards them. They don't know it yet. They're about to stop being afraid of everything and start being the thing everyone else is afraid of instead.